Hello. I do have to say it's quite strange to be presenting this paper, or at least recording it, in this present time for a future time that will be seen as a pastime that will be experienced in the life present, as I am also on Zoom or Skype. That kind of thing is kind of strange because then this recording is in past time, which is where the ancestors are. And so since I'm going to be with the ancestors anyways, and since I hear them calling to me, I feel like I needed to start that way as well. In our conversations, we wanted to have this work, our panel, present in a way that was quite queering, decolonial of the space and time in which we are speaking. So with that, I just want to start with giving thanks. And with that, I'm going to sing a song, which is an honor song, just to honor my co-panelists who have worked very hard to make this happen, and especially to Maria, my colleague, my professor, who has shown me so much in such a short amount of time, and I'm really thankful. So that was part of the Bumblebee honor song. Because of time, I really can't sing it to its full length. But I wish to in the future. And so Maria and panelists, I will do so when I see you in person. In continuing with my acknowledgments, I want to thank many people. I thank you to my ancestors and to the Creator. Thank you to my Dansa Steka people who have helped me grow and given me all of my sacred dances and knowledges. Thank you to the Pomo and Ohlone people for this land and place of study called Oakland, or Okatslan, as the queer two-spirit siblings call it, that I have associated with in writing this work when I was at Mills College. Thank you to Donancine, or Turtle Island, for all the support and dance that you have provided us. Writing this text was a huge endeavor, and I first would like to thank my great friend and colleague, Judine Small, or now Judine Jean Lewis, for her love, support, and food and dancing. She has done so much for me and has kept me sane throughout my time at Mills. She is a genuine, close friend. Thank you. I particularly would like to thank Anne Murphy and Soma Belmar for guiding me through the process of reading and drafting this work. The help has been monumental, and of course, an enormous thank you to Patricia Reedy for reading my work and giving me so much support and confidence. I would like to thank my Cunningham dance technique teachers, such as Diane Frank, Sonia Del Wade, and Melissa Finley, for teaching me all that they know and helping me to discover new and old works inside the logic and knowledges of dancing. Their teachings are what inspired me to pursue this manifesto thesis. Dancing in the studio, doing the bounces and curves and extending myself into the deep dynamic architecture of my body has been invaluable to me. And thank you to Shinichi Yokokoga as well, His teachings around or inside of Butoh has helped me explore the limits of just technique in general, form in general, aesthetics, and perhaps art. And finally, I would like to thank Maya Cruz and Logan Hain for being such good close friends. Many times as I was making dances and researching, they have assisted me by means of food, shelter, and transportation. Their friendship, loyalty, and support is very tender and is kept in a very deep and special place in my heart. Now to continue, this work was not an article or paper designed for this conference specifically, but a conference that I wanted to attend in the past but wasn't able to do so. And so it is in bits and pieces and reformed to give a sense of what I was writing when I was working on my thesis, which I called Mitote, Indigenous Avant-Garde Dance Written in Indigenous Knowledge. Mitote stops the imperial playing. It enters the sacred play and dance. It works for an honest, joyous, and respectful future. Time's call for Mitote. Playing Indian, as always, has a tendency to lead one into rather than out of contradiction and irony. This is from Deloria on page 180 in his work, Playing Indian. The history of the United States has had a very difficult and interesting time dealing with the Indian problem, or rather, the removal of the American Indian from the path of westward expansion and modernization. Ethnographic research concerning the preservation of these people's culture was put into effect as a solution, while lawmaking was used to ensure the advancements of modern civilization at the cost of genocide of native people and degradation of many important cultural practices. Yet, popular audiences of America from the turn of the 20th century to the present were and continue to be fascinated by Indians. Not real ones, but the romanticized characters played by white people. Such Playing Indian was coveted by popular audiences of the 20th century as a way to experience the so-called true savage and all the wisdom from Deloria that they could hold. For many people of this era, being the recent 20th century, Playing Indian was a way to look into their own primal past and cultures. A past lost with the immigration to North American continent. Yet, most never acknowledged the humanity that existed in Native people themselves. Playing Indian, for most, then, was a way of negotiating the beginnings of a national American identity by attempting to reconcile the culture of the Aboriginals with their own civilized ways. Interestingly, this motivation parallels the beginning of American modern dance. By looking to the American Indians' cultural dance pioneer Ted Shawn created his first solo dagger dance, which gained him a place in dance pioneers Ruth St. Dennis's dance company. And this is from Sherman. From there, he made multiple other solos and group pieces by investigating the American Indian for inspiration and understanding of dance. At the time, this process of making dance was widely accepted and encouraged. And looking at, imitating, and emulating other cultures to create and develop work was a common methodology. This is from Schickel. Playing Indian gives the artist creative license to act savage in his performance and not be seen as savage himself. For Ted Shawn, playing Indian allowed him to enter the art of dance and develop his career alongside Ruth St. Dennis, continuing to create the beginnings of modern dance. Paradoxically, while the beginnings of the 20th century continued the genocide and ethnographic preservation of the primitive Indian, many performers and dancers, including Shawn, explored Indianness to promote and popularize their art as well as preserve the Indian way, digging deep into their assumed primitive and pure art form of dance. This biased and romanticized understanding of the American Indian seemed necessary and accepted for the foundational frameworks of early American modern dance, modern concert dance. Without the Indian object and subject, without being an other, pushing the art form of dance in this certain expressive ways, reaching one's purity of movement may have not been socially acceptable. Playing Indian simultaneously allowed modern dance to take the stage and introduce national American culture to an art form conventionally regarded as having European origins. What is important to remember here is because of Ted Shawn, because Ted Shawn may have taken dance from Native people, some living memories of fragments of culture of Native people's dances still exist through him. Through an appropriation, some small reality existed in his dances. His and other modern dance, then, was not a full appropriation of American Indian culture and ideology and ideas. It was an accidental preservation of indigenous knowledge. And it is with this and with these fragments of culture caught within dance that, what I propose, Mitote is developed through reappropriation and revitalization, and eventually the reclamation of indigenous knowledge. So that being like the basis of this work, to read to the note that I have in this work. This manifesto is written in a non-linear fashion. It is created out of many small essays, stories, poetics, and theories to create an overall sense and feeling and knowledge of Mitote. Thus, as a reader, you may not need to read this work linearly. Please feel free to look at the table of contents to follow the logic and path of the reading that best suits you. Though there is a logic to the arrangement of the following works in this document, it is more of a guide than an order. This work was created for you, the reader, to hold agency over your reading and exploration. It is indeterminate in some ways, but allows some sort of creative freedom in your arrangement of learning. It also allows everybody's engagement with time and reading to be unique, or at least to some limit of permutations. One of the sections that I want to give is Ode to a Native Dancer. Native boy goes off to college, not traditional. Native boy dances traditional dances. Does he dance them in the right way, in a good way? Is he brown? Did he eat the right food? Is his regalia put on correctly? Yes, traditional. Native boy comes back from college, not traditional. Native boy helps his family with a job, traditional. Native boy drinks alcohol and mourns for his people, negative, but traditional. Native boy dates a white woman, not traditional. Anger from his community, hidden in shame. Native boy is gay. That was traditional until the colonial infection. It is no longer good. Kill him. Native boy does a traditional dance. He is traditional. Native boy sings the native songs. Traditional. Native boy does contemporary dance. He is a disgrace for siding with the white people. Give him back to your people. Native boy pushes traditions into the future. Not traditional. No elders. Yes, it is. It is traditional. Lead our people into the future. Help us see what our scars have blocked. That we can take back this land, and maybe in a new way, in a different way. We must be open to ourselves, to Mitote, a creation of futurity for our people, a living, dancing ode to the people of the native boy. And so with that, because I'm completely out of time, I'll leave you with one little bit more. Fierceness. For Willie Ninja, recognizing fierceness in one's voguing meant that he witnessed the voguer's profound self-knowledge. To be fierce in voguing, one must have a great sense of identity and control of oneself and body. Interestingly enough, this is voguing's deep root. Knowledge and control of one's identity, body, and self, thereby effectively expressing one's personhood through movement. This is fierceness. Voguing's fierceness comes from within and is recognized and labeled from without. The cycle works and continues to produce the dance of voguing. Mitote is sacred fierceness. Mitote is sacred voguing. And then to the note, for Mitote, fierceness voguing is drawing from one's inner self to outwardly produce a statement, a dance, in the main process for its dancing, its physical manifestation. One could say, then, Mitote is fierceness, but more so, a sacred fierceness. In that, what I'm trying to do with Mitote in Avant-Garde is play against this tradition that must be still, that must be preserved. That the sacredness of the cycle of indigenous knowledge, of repeating, of digging deeper and moving deeper, is an innovative process as much as it is a static process in one circle. It is creating oneself by reworking something that has already been created. It is finding deeper, hidden essences that were there or not. And trying to find it, which is the ancestors, which is why I visited them first and started with my song. So that will end my presentation of this paper, of its multiple layers and works. And I look forward to talking with the rest of the panel in future time. Au revoir. Thank you very much.